Hey guys, welcome to a recap of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, episode 8 Roller Skates and Blind Dates. This episode, girl, I guess we're relying on Drew to save this season because she really held it down this episode. She was giving us a lot. She gave us family, she gave us marriage, she gave us career, which is the perfect combination for the perfect housewife. But it's just, there's something about Drew that I can't stand behind. I think it's because she is not the shade assassin like Kenya. But what I noticed in watching this episode is that Kenya was missing for a good majority of it. So I guess we're relying on Drew, but let's get into this episode. We open up with this episode with Miss Drew Sidora. We are at her home. She's doing her mommy duties, taking care of her baby, and she's also interacting with the assistant, doing their daily duties. But she opens up to her assistant to share pretty much how her music video rehearsal went. So rather than show her assistant a video of what it looked like professionally done, she decides to do a live performance right here, right now in this kitchen for the assistant. And I couldn't help but laugh because, first of all, how you in your own home and you're a musician, and Alexa, when you're trying to play your song, Alexa is referring to Juice World instead of hearing Juice Sidora. Like, I thought that was just hilarious. And I felt like, you should have had it ready to be played in a minute notice. The cameras are rolling. We need to promo this song. We need to get the music plays up. So I thought that was hilarious. And then when it finally played Juice Door's song, she showed the choreo, and the choreo was not choreoing. So I'm like, Drew, girl, we supposed to take this serious. Let's. This is your career. You want your music career to take off. Let's take it serious. Don't play when it comes to your career and your bag. So she's having fun, which is good. And she is sharing pretty much how she wants this music video to take off, and she's feeling super optimistic. And then we get Ralph who comes in, and that's when Drew shares that her sister Allison is coming for a visit. She wants her sister to be integrated back into the family. We learn apparently that there was a beef going on with Ralph and Allison. What we learn about Allison is that Allison managed Drew's career ever since she was little, since she was 8. So she played a major role as a manager more than a sister. And she mentioned how at one point her and Ralph, Allison and Ralph, were not getting along. She would say things that Ralph is controlling, manipulative. I wonder, after the information coming up about the divorce, whether she does side with her sister now, because at that time she sided with her husband, which led Allison to be pretty much kicked out in the family in a way. She was no longer allowed to come to her home. She hasn't been to this new home that we see on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. So this is a moment for Drew to have her sister come back into the picture, and she feels like this was a great opportunity. And the reason why she was no longer in Drew's life, aside from the issues with Ralph, just before, just right around the time when COVID was starting, Drew's sister suffered through a mental health break, and we actually get to see some unseen footage of this mental break going on, and I felt so bad. I felt like, wow, they're really showing this, exposing this. I wonder if that was okayed by the sister. It was a bit very super vulnerable moment. So Drew had to like be in agreement. Her family must have been in agreement to showcase this on this show. But man, she is opening up her lives for us more than what these other girls are doing, for sure. That's what I'm saying. That Drew's here to really take charge as the star of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Even though something like this shouldn't be used for television, but it does have its place, and it makes it real. These are the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So Ralph is not too excited that Allison is coming over. He is a bit hesitant, super hesitant actually, and he's avoiding the whole thing, which is making Drew, nervous because she wants her sister back. And honestly, she said that she wants to focus on her sister relationship more than a manager's relationship because she really knows her sister as her manager and she wants to develop that sisterly bond. Okay. So we'll see. Her husband not too excited, but I'm glad to see more into Drew's life and how she opens up to us. And I, like I said before, she's keeping it real as opposed to the other girls who call Drew fake, which she has her fake moments, but that's all the housewives. So we're now over at Sheree, and she is having a work call, a work meeting with her operation manager. Okay, so in her confessional, Sheree has shared that she has not made a profit yet by Sheree. She hasn't turned a profit because she has been spending a lot of money on expenses to develop, promote, produce She by Sheree. So now in this work call with her operations manager, they talk about having stuff online as soon as it drops so it's available to get into the hands of the customers because everyone is rooting for She by Sheree. So it seems like there's a lot going on because they're discussing planning, designs, implementation. But all the support is ultimately at the end of the day, they want to be able to get their hands on the product. So She by Sheree, she wants to prove everyone wrong, particularly Candy, who she feels has been hating on her a lot lately. So she actually wants to set up a little meeting on one-on-one with Miss Candy Burris to really talk about her issues that she has with her. And she does not want to do this in front of these girls. She does not need an audience. Okay. So we are over to Marlo, and she's doing an Instagram live discussing kids in the foster care system. See, I like this side of Marlo. Sometimes I forget about this side of Marlo, but it's great that she's using her platform and becoming a voice for foster children. I'm telling you, when any housewives get involved with the foster care system, adoption, rehoming, homing children at risk, it has a special place in my heart. And I truly, truly admire those who can set aside their own personal needs and desires and wants to take care of someone in need, specifically a child. A child. I think that's the most beautiful thing. Especially she's doing it with the girls. She's doing it with the girls. So it's lovely to see this side of Miss Marlowe, but that is interrupted. No, actually it ends, and then Sonia, she comes in, and her and Sonia's relationship is super interesting. I think it's pretty much a convenient friendship. I don't know how genuine it is because we haven't seen much conflict yet. Because I like to see a friendship, if it's truly a friendship, after they overcome, a difficulty. Because that's when you can really tell who's a friend and not a friend, if they're able to talk things through. Because it seems like for me, Sanya and Marlo have always, having each other's back, and it's pretty much, Marlo, she's here for Sanya until I think Sanya does something that she doesn't like, and then we'll see maybe a flip in Marlo. That's that's what I see, okay? And Sanya, she needs an ally. She's looking for an ally in one of these women, one of these ladies, and she hasn't really found that yet. She came in with Drew, and those two were supposedly almost gonna be allies, but when they had their little beef, Sanya dropped Drew. So now she's best buddies with Marlo. She's her best girlfriend. So Sanya, she shares with Marlo that Belk wants her Mommy Nation business to be in their store. Now, Marlo, she's excited for Sanya, and Sanya loves the appreciation from Marlo. And you can tell she wished she received that same excitement from the other ladies because I feel like, Sanya feels like these other ladies don't support or rally to her stuff as she does to them, aka Kenya Summer more, okay? So we get to actually see that teased a little bit in the preview for the next episode. But Sanya really loves that, Marlo is supportive and excited for her because this is her business, super important for her. And Sanya reflects that she wishes the other ladies get to see the side that she gets to see with Marlo. And she says how Marlo is super supportive and she just wants everyone to experience this. Now, Sanya, I think you're still early on in this friendship with Marlo. Let's give it some time. If you could say this in the reunion, then okay, you have a good lasting friendship. But we'll see. I'm holding my breath, okay? So Marlo, she, disagrees a little bit but politely with Sanya. She says she blames, how the other ladies kind of dismiss her, put her down, call her out on her past, and don't leave room for her and appreciate the growth that she has made. So she actually wants to drop her issues with the ladies. She doesn't want it to be a focus and she wants to move on, as she did mention in the brunch in the previous episode. So she's dropping this for now. So I think her game plan is to let the ladies continue to antagonize her so she doesn't look like the bad guys. I see you, Marlo. Okay, we see each other. So Marlo wants to prove to these ladies that the rumors are wrong and that, she doesn't date old white men. She opens up to Sanya saying that she's going on a blind date. And not with just anybody. She's going on a blind date with a Jamaican. And Sanya is all but support for Jamaica. Okay, she is Team Jamaica. So she, of course, Marlo, do prefer to date rich. So she is so curious about this blind date, and Sanya is here for it. She's like, this is what you need. You need this in your life. So this is exciting. Something to look forward to. That's at least I look forward to this in this episode. Moving on, we are in the park, and we have Candy and Sheree having a meeting to talk. Okay, so Candy, she shows up, in a park in her sneakers, casual wear, but Sheree, she shows up in a full on mink with some Louis heels. And I'm like, girl, why you showed up on Candy like that? And her response to Candy is pretty much, we know Candy don't walk too fast. And I'm like, oh. I thought that was hilarious, but I like that Candy can take a joke. And these ladies, they're on good terms. This is just a scene to fill a scene. So they are talking, they're asking about each other, about their lives. So pretty much Candy shares that Mama Joyce is Mama Joycing and that Sheree is now a grandma. And these two are just nothing but happy and supportive with each other. Now, Sheree has to bring this up, and I agree with her because I do see it is a bit unfair on Candy's part. Sheree brings up to Candy that, Candy keeps disrespecting her business and putting her business down publicly on a platform. So the speak on it, on the YouTube, on the Instagram, she doesn't like how Candy takes shots on She by Sheree, calling it She by Shein. And Candy at first saying, no, you're putting the blame on me, but I'm not the originator who started that. It's pretty much all fun and games. But Sheree brings up on Candy and her restaurant business saying that, oh, I don't go on the platform and talk about how you didn't pass inspection or how service was bad. Like, I would not fix myself to go on a platform to say anything negative about your businesses when there are negative things that happens in your business. Is just a part of business, which is a fair point to make because if you talk about Candy Burr's business, she shuts it down. She doesn't want to talk about it. She gets super emotional about it. So Sheree wants that in return too. So, Candy, she understands and she does apologize. They did get into a little tiff because, Candy, she expressed to Sheree that, the customers are not getting the product in their hand. And that's just the joke. But if you really do want the customers to have the stuff in their hands, just white label, just get a brand, get a product and just put your label on it and move on and produce this. And Sheree initially she didn't want to do that at first, but she ended up doing this. It became an actual option that she had to take on because it's a lot. It's a lot. So Candy and Sheree, they're going at each other, But I'm happy that Candy was able to apologize for the fact that she should have never spoken negatively about She by Sheree, out of respect to her and her business. And Sheree, she accepts the apology just like that. And Candy just looks at her, "Are you serious?" And I think that's what it took for Sheree. I think Sheree, she sees that Candy, she apologizes, and she accepts it and she moves on. And that's how it should be. So ultimately, these two are happy with each other. They're able to move on and move forward. I don't think Sheree stays mad at any of these ladies long. Like, she is easy to like forgive and move on. So I'm just happy that we able to drop that and end that. Okay, so we're now seeing the housewives in their daily scenes. We get to see finally a scene with Kenya Moore. We haven't seen anything yet for Kenya Moore throughout this whole like 20 minutes, 30 minutes of this episode. So we get to see her do a little scene, and she's in her kitchen with Miss Brooklyn Daly, and they are making cookies together. Now, it's cookie dough and they're putting it on the sheet, and Brooklyn is like, "I want to eat it. I want to eat it." And Kenya is like, "I don't know if you can eat raw. Let me read the instructions." While she's reading the instructions, Brooklyn already finished ingesting the cookie dough. So I thought that was so hilarious because her face after is that she's all fine. She's okay. And I just like that cute little scene. That really did stole my heart. She is super, super, super cute. So we then get to see a quick little scene with the Ross planning their baby and baby making, Marlo planning for her foster event. Then we get to see Todd and Candy going over the scripts for Todd's production. Now, we get a little bit of insight into this scene, a little bit more, and I can't wait what's to come. And I wonder if Drew knows. So, Todd and Candy want Drew to have a role in Todd's play, Todd's movie, Todd's production. And that's very, very exciting because I like that Candy, she really give opportunities to her friends. Like, she's very selfless, and that's such a nod to her character. So they have an idea of having Drew play a wife, and now what role goes to Candy? She said she didn't want a main role, but she didn't want a role that would typecast her as the one that turns out the girlies into lesbians, okay? She didn't want that typecast. And Todd is hilarious. He's like, when art imitates life. And I just think, and I'm just so excited to see more about this production. I want to see more. So we are now over at Drew's, and she's just waiting for her sister to show up for her homecoming, pretty much. So Drew has a chef making vegetarian, vegan food, having it all set up, laid out for the sister, but the sister is late and is not expected to come till later. So Drew's talking to her mom, sharing about the music video that's coming up, what they're gonna do. And you know, the production team, they had to leave like at 10:30. It's dark. They want to go home. And the sister finally arrived around midnight. But Ralph didn't even stay up. He's like, "I'm going to bed too." He goes to bed, so he misses her coming in, but it was an emotional meeting with the girls, the mom and the two sisters, happy that the sister is here. So that was a beautiful, cute moment. And I'm like, we're getting a lot of Drew scenes. Like, I'm telling you, Drew is holding down the Real Housewives of Atlanta, okay? So Drew wants the family to get it together, and that opportunity is going to come up in the music video, which was a beautiful moment. So we're now at Drew's video shoot, okay? How many scenes did Drew get? Like, sheesh. Okay. So we're at the video shoot and the ladies are showing up. So Sheree, she couldn't come. She has something to attend to. Candy's not here. She's booked and busy. Only Kenya, Courtney and Sanya are here for this shoot. And now I know what you guys are wondering, where's Marlo? Well, apparently Marlo did not get an invite, but we'll get into that a little later, okay? So these are our ladies, Kenya, Courtney, and Sanya, and they're here for the music video. Now, this music video is based in a roller skating alley, okay? Meaning you have to be able to skate. And we learned that Drew does not even know how to skate. She actually had a coach kind of prep her for her scenes. And I'm like, how is this going to happen? How is this going to work? But Hollywood does its magic, okay, baby? So we get to see there was a surprise it appears. I don't know if you caught this in the scene, but I did notice Contessa's husband. He was in the skating alley. I caught that. I was like, oh, they are in Atlanta. I wonder if they want to come back to the show. They probably do. Maybe, I don't know. But anywho, Kenya, she calls this production a low budget Beyonce blow video. And I'm like, okay, Shade Assassin. Kenya's so shady. That low budget. I can't wait to hear Drew's response to that. These two have a friendly, shady banter. As long as it doesn't get too messy, I'm here for it. But I love the back and forth between these two. I feel like this was revenge. Not saying that this is the reason why, but this is a shot back for the comment that Drew made last episode about Kenya's booty, which we will not make any comments of. We will leave her alone with that, okay? So I was happy that Kenya was able to give us a little shade this episode, given that she wasn't on in too many scenes this episode. So we're now over to Ralph and Allison and the mom. And initially at first, Allison and Ralph, they were far apart from each other. But we have a moment with Allison's sister being appreciative of this moment, seeing her sister doing this video, which she had an idea to do a long time ago when she was her manager. And to see it all come to fruition and to see her sister being successful, her sister is nothing but proud, and she feel like it's pretty much a, her moment to actually be here for her sister. And she gets super emotional, and you see Ralph, you know letting his guard down, and he's opening up to her and receiving her, and they hug. And the mom, she's nothing but happy. Drew comes in to see her sister crying, and she just loved that she is bonding with the family, including Ralph. So I hope they continue on a path to build this bond, even though Drew's getting a divorce from Ralph. I don't know. Maybe people change mind. People change mind, but I hope these scenes can show them what family is, and hopefully they can have this new normal. You don't want anyone to be on bitter terms. So, of course, Drew is truly enjoying the moment, and the mom could have been nothing but happy for this moment. Can you imagine as a mother? As a mother? Okay, so moving on to the exciting part for me. Marlo is going on a date, a blind date. I'm ready to see what it gives, okay? So Marlo is getting ready. The boys are helping her. Her village is helping her, which I think is so super, super sweet. So she is en route. She has her driver taking her to the location. So she FaceTimes Sanya to share, oh, what's going on, the updates. Because, Sanya was supposed to reach out, but she didn't reach out. But, Marlo made sure to mention that. So Tanya said pretty much her excuse. She came up with the excuse why she didn't check up on Marlo this day was because she was actually at Drew's video shoot. So Marlo was like, wow, she didn't even get an invite to the video shoot. So, Marlo is feeling some kind of way. But Sanya, she's hyping up Marlo, saying how pretty she looks to give her and giving her advice for the date. So Marlo finds, she's happy with what she's hearing from Sanya, but she has a great idea to call and FaceTime Drew, even though they're not on good terms. And Sanya want no parts of it at all, okay? But I do. I want all the parts. So Marlo, she calls Drew, and Drew picks up on FaceTime even though they're not on good terms. Why would you do that? Why? You should have left it go on voicemail. So Drew picks up, and the two are just being super, super, super fake. So Marlo compliments her and how she looks so good, and Drew says, this is for her video shoot, and Marlo, she shares to Drew that she's en route to her date. So now Drew finally keeps it real with Marlo and says that Marlo needs to apologize to her. So Marlo quickly apologizes, but Drew goes on and on and on and on. I hate this. And go on and on and on and beat down a whole point when she just apologized. Maybe you don't receive it, but you don't need to beat down on a point. So I didn't blame Marlo, but Marlo, the old Marlo was coming out. Marlo, she hangs up on Drew. And then she starts talking down on her appearance, her marriage, her career. And it was just the old Marlo is back. And it's all caught on camera. So, of course, this relationship with her and Drew, I don't know, y'all. They should stop trying. They should stop trying. It's not working. So Marlo arrives to the location and she's at a strip mall. And she's like, a strip mall? She's at a strip mall for a first blind date, and already the date is not starting off on the right. No. So Marlo, she still goes in. She goes in and she meets up with her blind date, Scott Lee, who is her Jamaican. But to me, wasn't he giving Todd vibes? Like taller, taller Todd. Okay, this was giving taller Todd. He looks just like Todd to me. Is Todd Jamaican? I need to know. I need to know. Don't tell me he does not look like Todd. I wonder what Candy will say when she sees him, though. So the looks, he was giving good looks, and he welcomes her in and gives her flowers and say, "Welcome to my restaurant." And that changes Marlo's mood completely. She was like, "Oh, now he's starting to look real, real good." So he orders the food for the table for both of them, and she learns that he is 39. 39. 39. Oh my gosh. So he is young. And then on top of that, we learn that he has three kids, one that's 15, one that's 2, and one that's 1. So Marlo, of course, naturally asks if he is still seeing anyone, because to date someone with kids under 5, mm, it was a red flag for Marlo, but Marlo's looking at the man and she's about to make an exception. She's about to make an exception. So the food arrives to the table and the prawns have their head on them and they are just joking and the date is going well and there's just so much good vibes. I feel like, you know, Marlo, she's feeling this date, she's liking him, she's getting into this moment. So she then asks him if he has any skeletons. Now the reason why she asked him this is that she definitely likes him, but she wants to know if there's something that these girls are gonna come and drag her about with this man. So he shares that he has been locked up before in the past. And Marlo is actually super happy about this. The preview actually got us. Because I thought she was not happy, but she's over the moon about that. Honestly, guys. She feels that this is great because, first of all, she can relate. And that she also feels that she herself will not be judged. So they both serve 6 months and they do not plan on going back. But, these two, he even calls it Bonnie and Clyde. So I actually enjoyed this and I look forward to seeing more dates with Mr. Scott Lee and Marlo. And ultimately, I can't wait to see if he gets integrated into the group. I want to know what the group got to say, especially Miss Kenya Moore, Miss Kenya Summer Moore, okay? So now, guys, their preview for the next episode goes crazy. Kenya, we get to see Kenya's man. Hopefully we get to hear him talk. I want to hear his voice. What he got to say. What does he sound like? Okay. We also get to see Sanya's brunch, where, of course, Miss Kenya Moore is not showing up for Miss Sanya. And, Miss Sanya is going to give that to Miss Kenya. So we know that's going to be a thing. We get a continuation of Drew and her sister bonding, which is beautiful. But then, why? We're getting a guest appearance from Miss Wig herself. was not expecting that, but the look on Sheree's face, she's like, really, wig? Really? So, guys, we have a lot to look forward to. Thank you, Drew, for holding down this episode. And I can't wait for the next episode. I feel like the girls are coming back. They had us in the first half, but now these girls are coming back. So we'll stay tuned. And guys, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate every one of you. And as always, share as much kindness as possible. Bye, guys. Love you.